A dying Alpha King's last request. Part 2. The Queen the Kingdom tried to kill. Welcome back to the story King, where love is tested by blood, destiny, and war. The battlefield erupted. Steel clashed against steel as the northern clans charged, their crimson banners snapping like open wounds against the sky. War cries shattered the quiet orchard, turning jasmine-scented peace into chaos and blood. Draven didn't release Elara's hand. He pulled her close, his body a living shield as arrows rained down. His alpha aura rolled outward in violent waves, forcing even seasoned warriors to stumble back. Where the dying king once stood, a legend had returned. "Protect the queen," someone shouted. The word struck Elara like a physical blow. Queen. She barely had time to process it before Draven turned, barking orders with lethal precision. "Form the crescent wall. Archers, high ground. No one reaches her, no one." An arrow grazed his arm. He didn't flinch. Another struck the ground inches from Elara's feet. Draven snarled, eyes blazing molten gold, and something ancient answered inside him. The ground shuddered. Wolves, real wolves, massive and spectral, rose from the earth itself, manifestations of the Alpha King's power, charging headlong into the northern ranks. The invaders faltered. They hadn't expected this. They'd come for a weakened king and an unprotected Omega. They found a sovereign reborn, and a queen worth dying for. Elara was rushed into the castle under heavy guard as the battle raged outside the walls. The gates slammed shut behind her, sealing the sounds of war into distant thunder. Inside, the corridors buzzed with fear. Servants whispered her name like a prayer, or a curse. The Orchard Omega, the king's weakness, the pregnant one. A noblewoman stepped into her path, eyes sharp with disdain. "You think a night in his bed makes you royalty?" she hissed. Elara lifted her chin, hands instinctively resting over her abdomen. "No," she said quietly, "but I think saving his life does." The woman recoiled, not from arrogance, but from certainty. Hours passed like years. Then the doors burst open. Draven strode into the hall, bloodied but standing, his presence silencing every voice. The northern banner lay torn and trampled beneath his boots. "They've retreated," he announced. For now. Relief crashed through the room, but it didn't last. Lord Cassius stepped forward. "This changes nothing," he said coldly. "The council has not recognized her. A common Omega cannot." Draven's sword left its sheath with a whisper of death. He planted the blade tip down into the stone floor. "She carries my heir." Gasps exploded around them. "The ancient law stands," Draven continued, his voice lethal in its calm. "Any who challenge the safety or status of my mate challenge the crown itself." Silence fell, thick, terrified. Cassius swallowed. "Then, you claim her publicly?" Draven didn't hesitate. "I already have." He turned to Elara and held out his hand. "Come here, my queen." Her legs trembled as she crossed the hall. Every step felt like defiance, like destiny rewriting itself beneath her feet. When she took his hand, the air changed. The crescent mark on her shoulder burned softly, glowing silver gold. The court went to its neatney. That night, Elara stood alone on the battlements, staring out at the darkened fields where bodies still lay. Victory had been won, but war had only begun. Draven joined her, wrapping a cloak around her shoulders. "You should rest." "I can't," she admitted. "Everyone is watching, waiting for me to fail." He cupped her face, resting his forehead against hers. "They waited for me to die," he murmured. "And yet, here we are." She searched his eyes. "Are you afraid?" "Yes," he said honestly. "Of losing you?" Her breath hitched. "I can fight armies," he continued. "I can rewrite laws. But if anything happens to you, or our child, there is no world I want to rule." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "I'm scared too," she whispered. "I wasn't born for this." He kissed her brow, reverent, protective. "Neither was I," he said. "But fate doesn't ask permission." A sudden wave of dizziness hit her. She swayed. Draven caught her instantly. "Elara," she gasped, clutching his tunic as warmth bloomed low in her belly, then spread, fierce and bright. The crescent mark flared. A pulse of power rippled outward, rattling the stones. Draven froze. The bond, he breathed. It's forming. She stared at him. You said there was no fated bond. I was wrong, he whispered, awe and fear colliding in his voice. It's rare, but when magic, choice, and sacrifice align. He pressed her hand over his heart. I can feel you. Below them, the moon rose, full, blazing silver. And far beyond the kingdom's borders, something ancient stirred. Watching, waiting, because the war for the throne was no longer about a king. It was about the queen who should never have existed, and the child destined to change everything. To be continued.